Buy, hold, sell. Jacob Kiraz. Talk about a player of interest. A negative break even there and two awesome scores in the first two games of his career. He showed so much talent and he's got so much to offer here. And we see a game in the centres just under 70 minutes there where he picked up a 48 and then a game on the wing for a 53. And what we're looking at here is obviously a bunch of kick defusals. He had a penalty and error to go along with the attacking stats. 6 tackle breaks, 3 offloads and a try. So if we can expect somewhere around the 30 mark, we're going to make a decent amount of cash from this guy and also get him as a player for round 13. So that's obviously the big thing there. Potential to get him up to about a 500k type of player, I'd say, averaging 35 to 40, with a couple of good games when he scores a try and then a couple of games where he gets to 25 to 30, which I think makes a lot of sense there for a player who has the talent that he does in a very average side. So Kiraz is a very, very good buy this week. At 321 is obviously the main issue, but you get him straight away with a negative break even, which is going to spark a bunch of quick price rises and be great for your squad. If you're new here, guys, please subscribe to this channel. I'd appreciate it a lot. Jump in the Discord. We have 2,700 people. I'm very, very thankful for that. All great guys that really help. If you can't get a question answered by me, then there's plenty of great guys in there, and obviously you can be part of the people squad. So get around that. Nat Butcher, will speak about him as also a buy this week. He's obviously made a little bit of cash after his 58 last week, and we see a bunch of decent games. He's got some second row games this year which weren't as great, a 43 and a 40, but when you're getting him at a 526, we only need him to average in the mid-40s to do well. And when you have games like the last one in him at 58 there, you're looking at some decent scores. He has a game of 53 at second row for 80 minutes. So if he can continue that, he's going to do great for you. And owned by 59 of the top 100. So they see the same thing there. 40% of the top 5K. So Nat Butcher, dual position, still a great option. There might be an opportunity for him to move to the middle a little bit. And, if his brother comes on, Egan, potentially Satili comes on and takes his spot. There's also a small chance that he loses a few minutes, but at a minimum, if he can get over 60 minutes, he should be okay to get that 40 plus score on a week-to-week basis. Some weeks getting 80 minutes and some getting around that 60 mark. So that's Nat. Still a great option this week like he was last week. Okay, Xavier Savage is an interesting one. So they obviously play round 13 as well, and we've seen what he's done in some games playing at fullback. Last year, he got 2 cracks at a 26 and then a 73. And with the Raiders playing a lot better at the moment, he definitely is going to pique a lot of players' interest, given the fact that he's 220k at the moment, not owned by anyone in the top 5,000. So you could pick him up, and if he managed to do really well, considering last week he only got he got the 40 minutes and picked up a 32 playing in that fullback role, there's definitely scope for him to average around a 40. We spoke about him early on the year, preseason, of being a really good option if he managed to get that fullback spot at some stage of the year, and this might be that opportunity. You get a little bit of a short period of a cash grab and potentially some decent scores if you're lacking in the wing fullback position. So it could help you this week heading into round 13 and probably up to 17 there. And if you wanted to, you can move him on, I think, when Chance comes back. So Savage, obviously a great option as well this week to go along with Kiraz. If you don't have that amount of cash, at 320, you can go for Xavier this week with his break even being back to a normal sort of mid-teens break even there. All right, Tohu, you can get him this week, you can get him next week, but this week or next week, I think. But at 695, you're getting him a 50 average. He's going to be getting that 80 minutes from here on in. They lose Fanua Blake, looks like for a long time, unfortunately. And they've already released Lodge. So there's a bit of a space through the middle, but also on that edge, at least to get 80 minutes on the edge there for Tohu. And he's had obviously a career, especially since moving to the Warriors, of being a big middle forward / second row. You see games here in the second row. He played a bit on the edge and then would move to the middle. So there's a chance that he does that here, and he's got 70s, 60s in his range there. And he's definitely underpriced if we can get back to that form. You saw obviously the 70 minutes on the weekend to get him that 50 points, and it was 50 in base. So if he can get the odd offload, the odd tackle break, which he has done in the past, then he could be that 55 to 60 point scorer that we've all known and loved him to be. Obviously owned by a very small percentage. So this week, he obviously has a very high break even, which can get close to that. If not, you don't want to do this week, the trades don't work out properly, then next week will be perfect for Tohu. Great option. And we get Burton here at a similar price as 680. So obviously, price pretty much where he's averaging at 48. You've got the half center dual, and he's been doing great lately. You got 52, 82, 44, and 74 the last 4 weeks. And he's coming into his own, a couple of tries now, back kicking goals again. and the odd tackle try assist as well. Tackles have been solid the last 2 weeks as well. The 23 and the 25, really, really nice. To only go with 2 and 1 in terms of the misses. So he's obviously been doing really well in that category, which he wasn't doing as well earlier on the year. Obviously been something he's been working on because those last few weeks have 1, 2 and 1 when it was 6 and 4 the 2 weeks before that. So definitely improving in that on that side of the ball as well, which is only going to give him confidence on the offensive side. And Burton, definitely still a great option if you want to pick him up. Move on to Joshy Jackson. We spoke about him last week and the week before, but Joshy, again, just priced around that 49 there. And is a great option for anyone's side. The last bunch of weeks have been really, really solid. So only a 47 as his low in the past 7 weeks. So he's someone that has that potential to do really, really well and average over 50 for you. Make a bit of cash, dual position, and is great for the buy period. So there you go for Joshy Jackson. Still a great buy heading into this week. Now we get into a bit of a hold here in Taumalolo. I think a very high break even is the main issue. I think if you've got a lot of trades, you can probably move him on because you're going to lose that bit of cash. We're not sure if he's actually going to play in round 13. There's a few things to think about, but definitely someone that it looks like is probably going to be out this week and then back heading into round 13. But it's a 1 to 3 week injury. So really, if you're missing out on him in round 13, then you're going to be really pissed. So I have him in my team and I'm thinking about moving him on, but there's definitely some thought there to potentially hold him and use him over the next 5 weeks as a good scorer. But, considering it's a knee injury, there's definitely an opportunity, definitely less of an opportunity for him to play massive minutes and could just be a sell this week. And if you do that, I'm completely fine with that. I'm thinking about it myself. So that's Taumalolo. He obviously had 2 really low scores in a row after that really good stretch of big minutes and big scores there. All right, Selwyn. I just think he's way too expensive. The 557, he's gone up, crazy amount over the last bunch of weeks. He was sitting in the low 300s, 330, 340, and now he's headed all the way up into the 557 after 3 massive weeks really, 63, 53, and 88. And that's considering he's got 2 tries, 3 tries, and 2 tries in those weeks. And can we expect him to do that every week? I don't think you can. You look at the scores at the beginning of the year. I understand he's a rookie. He did play a bunch of games last year, and he only came good in a couple of them. And this year he's had 3 on the trot. Can he continue that? I'm not exactly sure. Is he going to be similar to Talakai, where he had a bunch of really good scores and he goes back down to lower ones? I can see that happening. There's definitely some money to be made over the next few weeks, but he doesn't play round 13, and I think that's a bit of a killer when you can go for guys like Joey Manu, and Reuben Garrick and stuff at a similar price point who are playing in round 13. So that's my thoughts on Cobbo. I understand if you want to pick him up as a head-to-head play, you're probably going to make a bit of cash for the next month or so, but he has every chance to go back to some lower scores. He's had a few runaway tries and things like that. Tohu Harris, we're going to speak about him as a sell this week. So back on the bench again. Unfortunately, he was doing really well in that starting role, so, mid-40s as an average in those starting big minute roles, and he goes back to the bench now after a 12 last week. He's probably going to get a similar score and start losing your cash that you made on him. So he's a sell. I think he's one to move on from your side. Nice and simple. He's owned by a big percentage. If you're holding on to him, you're going to lose some cash from here. Ezra Mam. I think this week, he gets the extra week. So if you got lucky last week, brought him in, you got the 54, awesome work. He's going to get one more week, it looks like, with Reynolds just being out with a little bit of hamstring tightness. So with Mam, I'd be holding off on him personally. I think, the other options there in Savage and also Kiraz are probably better for you this week. Ezra doesn't play in round 13, and he probably won't play again unless there's another injury to Reynolds. So considering they don't play in round 13, they're being safer with Reynolds there, getting that extra week's rest, and then he's good for 14. So Ezra, I think you got to leave him out of your side. But if you picked him up, there's one player in the top 100 that got him. Sweet, you get him for another week. All right, so Hughesy, 692. So you get him under a 50 average now. And if you held the last few weeks, you're obviously pretty annoyed. And coming off a 35 or 46 and then missing 2 weeks really sucks. But if you look at games before that, in the 7 rounds that he played, he had 4 games over 50 and 3 of those over 60 there, 1 over 70. So has had a really solid start to the year. Obviously, the last 2 games have killed his average, but he was averaging around 54 through that first 7 rounds. And if you're looking at that in itself, for a guy that doesn't play Origin, is only going to miss 1 game over the next stretch. I think Hughesy is a guy that you just definitely have to hold. He's obviously a pod as well, only owned by 2% of the top 5,000 and 1.3, so 13 people in the top 1,000 there, which is obviously low. And if he can go on a run that he did last year, we spoke about it before, what he did during the Origin period last year and into the back end of the season. You look through here from round 6 onwards, he absolutely killed it, and all through the Origin there, 81 in round 13, 76 and an 82 over that 3-game stretch, and then 72 and 76 in 18 and 19. Really incredible, and he has every chance to do that again. I can't see why not. He's improving as a player each and every year, which is crazy to see with how good he is already. But I think Hughes definitely a hold this week. Reuben Garrick's a very interesting one. I think if we're going for the buy, maybe, or no chance, Garrick goes into the maybe category for sure. You obviously look at how he scored last year on the wing and also at fullback. He had some cracker games at fullback last year, 86, a 52, a 62 there in those 3 games in the back end when Tommy wasn't playing. But really, the goal here with Garrick is that we need Manly to continue to play better football. And at the moment, they've got Melbourne this week, which is going to be a tough task. But then they've got Warriors, Tigers, and the Cowboys the next 3, for example, if we're just looking at matchups. And Reuben has a solid opportunity to average around 45 to 50. But there's also a chance he just sits in that mid-30s if Manly don't go as well. He's got a 45 and a 34 to his name there in around 7 and 8, and then 5 and 6, a 35 and a 42. So that sits you in that high 30s average, which is where he's priced at and where he's averaging right now. So if you think there's a little bit of upside to him, then you can go for it. But if you think he's going to average somewhere similar to where he's at now, he's probably a little bit too expensive for what you'd be getting at output wise from Garrick. So that's that one there. An interesting one at a cheaper price is obviously Jayden Campbell here at 543k. He has played a few games this year, 5 he has, and a 30, a 38 in the first 2. A 16 was really, really tough against the Raiders earlier this year. He's come back with a 62, 2 62s there with no tries and only 1 try assist and 1 line break. So very, very interesting to see with him. We know the talent that he possesses, and those 2 return games here with 266 meters and also 165. But he's also kicking in general play, which is a real interesting one. And if you think Titans can do fairly well this year, I think he can do worse than picking up someone like Jayden Campbell. If you think he can average around a 45, then you've got at least 100k or just under to make from him. For a guy that plays 13 and has a fair bit of upside, I think Jayden Campbell could be a solid pickup for your squad. So he's in between the maybe and the buy category for me with Campbell. If you like watching him play and if you think the Titans can do okay, then Campbell could be a solid option for your side. I'm going to go for 3 more, and Keary has really stepped into a bunch of great games recently. He has started super slow, and the last 5 weeks there, he's got a 46, 51, 50, 43 and a 68 there, and that's included no tries at all this year. And he's starting to pick up his assist game. The tackling's been solid. He's had most games over 20 in that last bunch, and then running the ball a lot more than he was at the beginning of the year, which is great. So he's showing a lot more confidence, which is awesome. The 103 meters there last week, and then 3 weeks back, 105 to go along with his normal kick meters. So I think Keary could come out and average around a 50 over the next bunch of weeks or heading into the rest of the season. And if you're interested in Keary, I think he could make some cash and get you some good scores. So and would definitely be a clear pod if you look to get Lukey. Michael Molo is the interesting one. So he got the 53 points in 47 minutes with the try and 2 line breaks, and pretty much had the perfect game, right? Apart from the error and the couple of penalties, just with the attacking stats was just awesome. So can he get 47 minutes again? I don't even know. There's every chance he comes out and gets 30 odd. My main issue with him is he doesn't play 13. So if you've got those other guys that do, and with Molo, he could come out and really dominate, but you could probably give him 1 more week. And if he does great, then you can pick him up in round 14 at around 300k if he's still named, and go from there. So that's my thoughts on Molo. And we move to our last one, and that's Faitala-Mariner. So we're just going to be on watch for him. If he gets a start and gets anywhere above 50 minutes, he's going to be a great option for anyone's side. He's priced at a fairly low position there in the 30s. So for Raymond, I think, once he gets a star, which he could get this week, we got King in that position at the moment, and Raymond has every opportunity to have that spot locked up. over the next few weeks. And if he gets that this week or next, he could definitely be an option. Just keep on watch for Raymond heading into round 13, guys. But that's that video. Please like this one. Show it to your friends. We obviously are building a great community here, and I love all of yous. We'll jump in and catch you in the Analyzing Teams video. So get those picks into that section in the teams analysis, and I'll analyze yours for you if I can get to it. See you guys. Have a good day.